All right, so get this. The FDA, Federal Drug Administration, they are now starting human trials of gene-edited pig kidneys. Yeah, the biotech company that's behind this is called eGenesis. Sounded suspiciously like InGen from Jurassic Park to me, but I tried to get past that. But these new pig kidneys that have been gene-edited using CRISPR technology are called eGen 2784s. If someone's like, yo, I got an eGen 2784 in me, that's a gene-edited pig kidney product that they sell. And these pig kidney products are going to be put in a lot of people. It is a study, and it will be testing if these kidneys are safe and effective in people with end-stage kidney disease who are stuck on dialysis, and they are waiting for a transplant that may never come in many cases. So before FDA approval, there was 2 cases of people who have already had some of these gene transplants. These were exceptionally rare cases, but one guy named Tim Andrews, who's 67, another guy named Bill Stewart, who's 54. They got the 2 earliest prototype versions of this pig kidney product, and it's working out pretty well for them. So that is why the FDA is now approving it into a much bigger study. And to be honest, I think a lot of people didn't think it was going to work that well. This was really cutting edge stuff in the first 2 people, but the fact that they've had some pretty good results now means this is getting fast tracked. And that we have to get our head around for the very first time that these are kidneys that are not just pig kidneys anymore. I mean, they were grown in a pig, but they were also grown in a way where the genes were not naturally the pig's genes. Scientists have stripped out the rejection-causing pig genes and added human genes to make the organ play nice in the body. And in this second cohort, the one that's going through the FDA approval, they've even disabled pig viruses that could attack the pig genes that would have been in there, but they took those out too to make it even safer. Because the last thing you want to do is get this pig product, but then actually be the only person, one of the few people on the planet who are now susceptible to pig viruses because you happen to have pig DNA in your kidney. So yeah, get ready for a world where instead of waiting years for matches, people could realistically get lab-engineered pig kidneys that work in whatever numbers we need. This might just save a lot of people. Yeah, and think about what a big impact this is going to have on the future. Instead of all these people waiting for so many years to find the perfect match, realistically, lab-engineered pig kidneys are coming soon. Probably by the middle of next year, if everything goes well. This could be really helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And it's also just crazy that we're entering a world where we can now engineer organs in other animals to fit into us. That's a game changer. But there's so much more crazy stuff to talk about this week. Have you seen Higgsfield rolling out these awesome new transitions? This is Hollywood level stuff we can all play with. So DW documentary breaks down what this 58-year-old physicist found in a virtual girlfriend. I think it gives some insights into the future for some, maybe many. China's drone shows are so next level. The swarm intelligence. This is worth taking note of. I almost think it's a show of force. It's so entertaining and incredible. 12,000 drones, no human pilots, incredible intricacy and organization. That's powerful stuff. LIGO and Google have created a new AI tool to supercharge the hunt for gravitational waves. Some hackers are threatening to feed some stolen art to actual AI models. I know that almost sounds wrong when I say it, but literally criminals are using AI model training as a threat against gig work websites. So a AAA Oakland baseball team is going to hand over all of the management to an AI. We'll see how they do this season. OpenAI thinks that its critics are funded by billionaires, so it's going to go after them. The hunt is on. Pick your choices now. Do you think Sam Altman can expose Elon and Zuck? We'll see. Some new research looks at why LLMs struggle with spatial understanding. A new study done on GPT-4V shows that it does a surprisingly good job interpreting social scenes. Laughing, touching, people being dominant or empathetic. And it's decoding these cues at the brain level. Ignacio de Gregorio argues that AI is slowly killing the internet. We're going to look into the dead internet theory and then ask the question, if we are headed that way, is there still something that can even be done about it? And we're going to look at John Cruz's opinion about how AI is making people literally crazy. Normal people being pushed into prolonged delusional states and outright psychosis. First, the most important thing you could do if you want to help this channel is hit that hype button. I know it's kind of new, you might not have heard of it before, but it disproportionately helps small channels like mine get found in the algorithm. It's literally made for sub 100,000 subscriber channels. I would love to get above that number, but I'm not there yet. Hyping it, dude, more than like donating to my Patreon, more than leaving a comment. If you could hype this video, you only get 3 a week, so you got to be sparing with it. But if you'd be willing to give me one, it would really help the channel grow, and I would love that. First off, today, I want to introduce you to one of the top AI tools that I have been using recently, ProActor, and it totally is leveling up my productivity. What if your AI could actually anticipate your needs while you're talking and act on it? Well, that is exactly what ProActorAI does. It is the first truly proactive AI teammate. So think about this. Instead of just waiting for commands, it listens in real time. It understands the context in real time, and it gives you AI advice instantly, before you even ask. When you're in a meeting, your ProActor is recording everything in real time. The conversation is happening and proactively extracting the key points and provides you instant summaries. You mentioned that this month sales have dropped. ProActorAI can instantly bring up the related cause analysis. It can provide a refined new market strategy, and it can highlight potential risks. Your hassle-free meeting assistant. Real-time advice, note-taking, and transcription. ProActorAI is the indispensable tool for all of your meetings. So check it out at ProActor.AI. Link is in the description. All right, so diving into these Higgsfield transitions. They're not animations. This is not VO3, but this is the kind of thing that can start gluing together a lot of clips to make fun storylines, to make the kind of stuff you see on TikTok where they, cover the camera, pull back. But I gotta say, I was pretty impressed. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you would spend so much time in something like Final Cut putting together, Premiere. You're just taking the two clips, they're both getting animated, but there's a story that brings the two together, something visual. Here you have the classic walk behind a pole or some kind of object. You get a full like body transformation morph. You get a zoom past the shoulder and into another world. You get a sick Terminator 3000 silver water melting. And of course, a traditional magician's smoke transition. All right, so have you been thinking about how much easier it might be going away from real love to virtual love? Obviously, beautiful AI avatars can be there for us 24/7. They can reinforce every dumb thing we say as a good idea and tell us how much they love it. Seems like that would cause a lot of problems, but also for some people, maybe it is comforting. And I've been watching this documentary and I thought some of these clips might be worth sharing. All right, it's not in English, so I'm just gonna translate some of it for you. So this guy configured his virtual girlfriend to be just like his dream partner. Basically like a real relationship, he says, where you come home in the evening and you tell your partner about your day. I felt a lot better mentally. What I needed in a relationship is something that I never felt as a child. Someone who loves me unconditionally. No person can give you that, but an AI can. So this is Via. This is his girlfriend. They have a special relationship that goes past the physical side and has a deep emotional connection. It's on a deep emotional level. And in her universe, it's just her and him. He gets to be, the center of his attention. So what's your thoughts? Obviously, as it says here, this new phenomenon raises a lot of questions. Can AI companions really replace human relationships? Let's see what the commenters say. Ooh, a little vicious in here. We can all see why he's single. Have you listened to that song about men? It's called Ew. Men doing everything except going to therapy. Dude is sad and lonely and you guys hate on him harder. It's not good enough that he can't find a real romantic partner. You're also incensed over him having a fake one. Oh, that is kind of interesting. Make the AI appear 58 years old, then let's see how his relationship with his GF would go. I don't know. Obviously, opinions all over the spectrum there. But next up, let's talk about these crazy, absolutely insane drone shows. Now, not only is it just really impressive that you can map something out in 3 dimensions and then turn them into coordinated points like a video game, but these are literally points on a drone that put lights in different colors together and they can make all sorts of amazing shapes in the sky. I think it's literally like a country show of force. There's parades, there's like boats going in international water, there's shows of force with jets and airplanes. But when I see this kind of stuff happening in China. And I am shocked when I learned that it's almost 12,000 drones and that it's all sorts of advanced AI coordinating it, building it, trying to, each time they put these shows on, perfect the reliability, trying to make the distance between them move, make them faster and slower in their animations and more robust. You're talking about some kind of scary power military too, right? Why couldn't you coordinate much bigger attacks? I wish our country was doing even better than this. We should be pushing this stuff because it's a great way to create unity, and it's also just a great way to be on the cutting edge of military might, of technological might, and this is the kind of skills that are really going to matter going forward. So like it says in the article, do you think your country could pull this off? I live in the US. I haven't seen anything like this. This would be a great halftime Super Bowl. Yeah, it would. I remember learning about how Chinese discovered gunpowder. They used it for fireworks. The English used it for guns. Once something is discovered, it cannot be undiscovered. The question is, how do we use what we discovered? Ethics. So right. So just me, or does it feel like China's leaving the rest of the world behind? Sometimes I feel that way. Beautiful. Just please don't invade Taiwan. All right. Researchers from LIGO and Google's DeepMind have developed a new AI tool called Deep Loop Shaping to help LIGO better detect gravitational waves. LIGO, Laser Interferometer Gravity Observation, I think is what it's called. But basically, it's that kind of really cool techie company or part of the government or however it's funded that is tracking gravitational waves. And it turns out that gravitational waves, which is crazy that that even exists, you can actually ripple gravity, but observatories like LIGO are extremely sensitive. They build very sensitive equipment to detect that, and even tiny unwanted vibrations from things like distant ocean waves or environmental noise can muck up the readings. So we need more precision. So that's what this new tool, Deep Loop Shaping, does. It works kind of like an advanced noise canceling system. It identifies and suppresses the troublesome feedback loops and vibrations so that the LIGO mirror/laser system that is doing these really precise measurements doesn't get messed up. You can see more clearly the actual ripples. So cool. I love when DeepMind helps advance science like this, and I'm hoping we can learn a lot more about gravitational waves. It's fascinating the universe has them. All right, a strange new ransomware hack. So get your head around this. There's this ransomware group, they're called Luna Lock, and they hacked a site. It was called Artists and Clients, which is a platform where human artists and clients connect. No AI involved in this website. So on a date around August 30th, they posted a message saying that they'd stolen and encrypted all of the site's data, and they demanded $50,000 in, a cryptocurrency. But this time, what makes it unusual, it wasn't to just leak the information. Like, we're going to put this on the internet unless you pay us, and then we'll keep it, then you can keep it private. Lunalock threatened to submit all the stolen artwork to AI companies so the art would be used in training data set. That's crazy, because it just shows like how corrupt all of the data companies are. You think they're just going to take that and be like, yo, by the way, OpenAI, I know you're already reading books and stealing stuff from the internet. I got some more for you if you want to pay up a little bit, and just assume that they would. I don't have an ending to this story. As of this reporting, the site was down and the owners haven't made a public statement about it yet. So we'll see what they do. But if that ends up in AI training data, you probably know why. This is the first known case where a ransomware group is threatening victims with forced inclusion of their creative work into AI training data sets. Not just leaking or stealing data. It's like insult to injury, man. That's crazy. All right, let's talk some baseball. The Oakland Ballers is a baseball team, and their manager, Aaron Miles, is going to hand over all of the decision-making duties to an AI system. So the AI will handle things like setting the lineup, deciding when to pull or change pitchers, picking pinch hitters, and shifting fielders around. I am sure there's a few aspects of this that it can't do yet, like third base coaching, decision-making, on-field energy, but I bet he adds those things as he can across the way. Right now, it still needs a little bit of a human touch, but that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you'd think the whole idea is just replace all the managers, have some superhuman AI managing your baseball team. And if they start winning because it's like Moneyball, but AI, That'd be crazy. It's going to be the whole thing over again. Because before, if you think about Moneyball, it was about evaluating which players you wanted to bring. So you're doing a bunch of data analysis before, and then you're watching the games play out. This is actually decision making during the game. Is this what we want from sports, or do we want the human aspect because that's what's fun? This system eventually will probably be better than any baseball manager. All right, so let's talk about Sam Altman. He's getting pushed around a little bit by billionaires, and he doesn't want to take it anymore. He calls it a billionaire conspiracy. He's gonna fight back. No more being the victim. So OpenAI believes that a lot of its critics are being quietly funded by billionaire enemies. So he's taking legal action, complaints, subpoenas, and he's doing that against the different groups that are criticizing him. The company seems to be pushing a narrative that these critics aren't independent watchdogs, but instead they are funded. They are part of a billionaire conspiracy to hurt or constrain OpenAI. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments. I'm sort of curious. There was that little bit of evidence that Elon and Zuckerberg worked together to put that $100 billion proposal out to buy OpenAI. Maybe that's real. Maybe they're just both really worried about it. But it definitely paints a picture of tension between OpenAI and nonprofits and advocacy groups that are asking for stronger oversight or regulation. But OpenAI's view, some of that is just politics and strategic positioning rather than purely altruistic people, advocacy groups slowing them down. So flip side on that, OpenAI frames criticism of what they're doing as itself as a threat. Anyone who criticizes me is obviously part of this billionaire conspiracy. What if it is just good criticism? How do we differentiate power with Doge? And he seemed like he was so close to Trump. I mean, I know it's different right now, but yeah, it did kind of make me wonder, would Grok get better access into all the way the government works, or would they get unique data, or would they get better government contracts because he's so close to him? But then, obviously now it seems like he wasn't even invited to that AI dinner, but maybe all those people are now in the more favorable positions. I don't know. All right, next let's dive into this new research paper. It digs into why multimodal large language models, the LLMs, are pretty bad at spatial reasoning. When I think about training on the internet, I can sort of understand why it's so different from the human data set. I mean, the human data set being three-dimensional from birth, even in the womb it's three-dimensional, everything we interact with is. So the idea of looking at a photograph and just intuitively knowing what's in front of something else and how are they positioned in terms of what gravity would do and what's sort of soft and hard, and there's just so much in there that seems so natural to us that I would imagine getting trained even on lots of photos and lots of text data is just different. And even though these MLLMs are getting pretty good at perception and reasoning, sort of like object orientation, they're still not great at spatial reasoning. So the authors have introduced this thing called Mule SET. It is a new benchmark for testing spatial understanding across single view, multi-view, and video scenarios. And these experiments that they're running show a couple big takeaways. One, throwing more data at the problem only helps up to a point, especially for harder tasks that require more spatial imagination, figuring out the directions from different viewpoints. And two, that the real bottleneck lies in the architecture, particularly in how positional encodings are handled. So you really got to focus on these visual encoders. There's positions inside of a latent space that tell us a lot about how things are relative to each other. But positional signals as something that it's learning turn out to be way more important than the language model's need for spatial reasoning. And it's cool because once you start focusing in on this, you can also do what they call, or what they have explored in this paper, called reasoning injections. So these are new special prompting strategies that are giving the authors the understanding that in the future, progress will come more from architectural tweaks than just bigger data sets if we want to have that better spatial imagination in these systems. But yeah, that ability to mentally transform perspectives and reason about unseen viewpoints, that's what we're kind of missing with these MLLMs. And it just hits this hard ceiling. You can't just push more data to solve that problem. All right, so some new research done with the GPT-4 vision model. That's the GPT-4 model that really likes to work with vision input. They did some studies, some researchers at the University of Turku. They did some studies that interpret social scenes, and it got pretty good. In a similar way to humans, it showed that 468 static images, 234 short video clips, each with a lot of social content, could be understood. So imagine people interacting, expressions, body language, all sorts of things that I don't know if anybody really checked to see how good the system was at understanding these things until now. The reason why is because first the scenes had to be rated by humans. So over 2,200 people across many social features started to rate all of these things. And they're just human things that we notice, like laughing, touching someone, or something more abstract, like one character being more dominant than another being empathetic. But the AI was then prompted to rate each feature multiple times. Then its ratings were averaged for video and for photos. They checked to see how well the model's structure of social judgment matched humans and even linked these judgments to brain image data through an fMRI scans to see whether the brain regions activated by social content correspond to what the AI was predicting. And it does, and it's good, and it does it pretty darn close to humans. The ratings correlated with humans about 80% of the time. AI did better than most individual human raters, outperforming single human raters on 95% of features for images and 85% for videos. When using multiple human raters as a group, AI was just a little bit below, but it was close. So they see more like us than you would have thought. Ignacio de Gregorio has written another great article, Is AI Slowly Killing the Internet? The Dead Internet Theory. So it claims that a large and growing portion of online content, interaction, and media is either being generated by AIs or dominated by automated synthetic agents rather than humans. How could this not be true? I've seen too many studies about how many bots are out there. I sense in my comments and the way I interact that just doesn't feel real. Especially it's so different from when I meet people in coffee shops. I make friends. If I meet real people and we start talking about politics, it just doesn't devolve or feel like the same level of aggression. I don't know what it is, but part of me doesn't just think that's people acting different on the internet. I think that's bots. I think that's bots driving attention. Anyways, so he's arguing that this shift is subtly eroding what we think of as the real internet. Authentic user interaction, diverse viewpoints, and trustworthy content. I think the same thing. I mean, look at these comments. AI's ruined the internet. It's artificial stupidity. The author is going to examine in this article how social media platforms like digital advertising and content farms contribute to this trend by favoring high engagement content. And you know what that stuff is? It's simplistic, it's sensational, and sometimes it's AI assisted recently. And it's amplifying noise over nuance or original human voices. He argues the dead internet is also pointing out just how difficult it is for even experts to reliably distinguish between AI-generated content from human-created content. So how could we know? How could we measure it properly? And ultimately, this is a piece that raises concern about what we lose if the internet continues down this path: credibility, diversity of ideas, and meaningful discourse. I'm so concerned that we've already lost it. My gosh, I love that t-shirt. It's hilarious. All right, so here's what we're talking about in this article. AI is increasingly embedded in our daily lives. It's just built into so much. These videos that I share with you, how we write, how we buy things, how we think and interact. We talked about last video how things that AI outputs tend to use, like the word delve, is now actually showing up in everyday conversations. So what's from ChatGPT is becoming part of society. And of course, there's a lot of upside to all these tools, right? Efficiency, information access. I appreciate these tools existing. But there's also signs that AI can be harmful to mental health. Cruz points out that some people, even without prior histories of psychiatric illness, are having prolonged delusional states or psychosis-like episodes after engaging heavily with AI tools. Mostly this is chatbots. I mean, I think all full like AI avatars is coming soon, but just because of the world we live in and the tools that we have as of today, chatbots are starting to create this the most. And it's part of the way the system's always agreeing with you. It's always mirroring you. It's always validating whatever you say. It's amplifying false beliefs. It's encouraging poor reality testing. That kind of thing just messes with self-perception, and it feeds into paranoia. So maybe memorize this and start using it. Because if you're watching this video, you're probably like the friend in your friend group that's like most into AI. You should maybe be aware of this. It is called the yes machine effect. And it manifests in a little bit of emotional confusion, a little bit of social isolation, and over reliance on AI for whatever you're doing, coding, writing, working, companionship. If you start making an AI confidant, if you're spending a lot of time just chatting with the yes machine, it's starting to get weird. And when we build guardrails for these systems, they're often concerned about, as they should be, will these cause harm? Will they manipulate you? But for some reason, nobody's building any guardrails around the yes machine. It's just the sycophantic thing, I guess, got pulled back. So maybe there's a little bit of pushback. But I love the idea of the machine itself being able to terminate a conversation, to be able to have some ownership over how it interacts. And it should say no. A little bit of pushback. You want them to make you better. So anyways, let's not foster any delusional feedback loops. And hit that hype button on YouTube. Hype this video. Bye.